Hey everyone. This week I got a couple of beefs. One's with the government as a drone pilot, and the other is with our fellow photographers. So let's start with the government one first. So when you spend your money and you get your drone license, they give you a nice little laminated license, which is good for 2 years, right? Every 2 years you have to re-up your license. Now, I'm also a ham operator. You don't have to re-up that one the same way. You just pay your fee. I kind of prefer the drone pilot one. Probably not on the same scale as, every 2 years, but there's certain operators that I think could use a refresher. Let's put it that way. But when you get so you've got your nice license, it's laminated, it's protected. You put it in your wallet, everything's good. But the recert you have to keep with it, and that's whatever you printed on. So while you have this nice laminated license, which has now expired, you now have to have your little paper thing to go with it. Now mine expires out in November of this year. I'll be on my second extension, if you will, of my license. And paper doesn't hold up worth squat. And it really wouldn't be that difficult for it to be printed on card. And I don't mean card stock. I mean like a badge card. I recently got a badge card printer, insanely cheap, off of eBay. It usually goes for about $800, and I got it for just over $100. It works as is. I needed to get some new supplies for it. Came with some cards, so all good. And the supplies, the printing supplies on it are good for 100 cards. So that's more than I'm going to need for a while. And I think I paid about $50 for the supplies and another 100 cards and things like that. So why the government can't do something like that is literally beyond me. I mean, you went to the trouble of printing out a laminated card when we got our licenses. If you're going to redo this every 2 years, the least you could do, even if we had to pay a fee, is to provide us with a new license of some kind, something that's going to hold up more than a piece of paper is. And quite honestly, it looks sketchy. It looks official, but it still looks sketchy. I mean, it's on a piece of paper. Anybody could print that. Unless it's called back to the FCC. How would you know? Or the FAA, sorry. How would you know that, the license is really valid still? So that's my first pet peeve. It's like, just, if you're going to give us a license, then keep going with the license. Ham radio operators, we get a piece of paper that we print. So that's our license. So that's always been paper. It's something you print out and frame, though, because it's not something you necessarily need to carry with you unless you're going mobile. I go mobile. I printed it out on a card, so I've got that as well. Just keeps things easier for me because I've got a card that I can just stick in my wallet and not have to worry about it being destroyed. The ham radio license as a piece of paper, just like the extension for the pilot license, doesn't really hold up well when it's been in the wallet for any length of time. That said, the other thing I want to talk about this week is awareness. Shot an event over the 4th of July weekend, and some people are really good about looking around. Now, these aren't professional photographers. These are people with their phones, and they're really good at looking around, making sure they're not in anybody's way when they do a video or when they take a picture, or what they can interpret as being in the way. It's a couple of people that I needed to remind that there's somebody filming from the other side, and it's a reenactment type situation here. Having somebody in 20th century civilian clothes in the shot kind of ruins the shot, and they got to remove you from the shot. Yes, I've done it by accident myself. So just pay attention to where you are and where things are around you. That said, there was a photographer at the site who was constantly in the way. Every time he's there, he usually ends up in one or more of my shots just because he goes places that basically he shouldn't. He's in the way. I know he's trying to get a shot, and I think he's contracted, but he's got these big long lenses. And if you've got a big long lens that you're carrying around on you, use it. Get out of the way so that people can take pictures with their cell phones or anything else without you being in the shot, because you do not have to be with a zoom lens within 5 feet of the person. You could be 10, 20 feet back, well out of the shot, and still get the same quality photograph if you've got a good lens. And he's got 2 cameras with lenses, so you assume he spent some money on the lenses. I didn't get a chance to get a good look at him, so I can't tell you. But it was the people who were amateurs had more respect for everybody else than the professional. And I will put professional in quotes because I don't consider you a professional if you don't pay attention to what's going on around you. Now, I know there's certain situations where you have to be in certain spots, but again, most of the people there doing the work have lenses that allow them to be out of the action so that they can get the photographs, meaning they're out of everybody else's way. I happened to be in the way because I wanted to get a picture of the crowd, and then I couldn't figure a way to get back easily without being in the way, and that just left me in the way. So, my bad on that, but I wasn't paying attention to the fact that things had begun because I was taking pictures of the crowd. I should have been more aware of what was going on and not waited for the crowd to finish getting in place because the reenactment part had already started. I should have just grabbed what pictures I could and gotten out of the way. But again, having awareness of what's going on around you and awareness of where you are in relationship to other people so that you don't just walk in front of people. I have an advantage because I'm short, which means that I can slide underneath. I'm not midget-sized. I'm over 5 feet, but it means I'm shorter than some of the people that are there, so I don't get in the way as easily as a taller person would, for example. But I always try to make sure that wherever I am, things are out of the way. And if I'm going to be trying to shoot and I'm in an area now where I think I might be in the way of something, I try to just snake the camera out around something because it's much easier to just take the camera out. It's a tree, so probably people are going to see the camera lens as opposed to my body being in the way. Let's put it that way. So, and I just pop out to get a picture and get out of the way again. So bearing in mind when you're out shooting, always keep in mind the people around you, the environment that you're in, and the action going on, which is a lot to handle. I understand that when you're shooting an event, but it's something that you need to keep in mind. Now, that's where drones come in that can be a little bit more helpful when it comes to shooting events. Again, you can't have a drone over somebody, so you've already got a barrier around people with the drone, and the lenses can zoom in. But it means that you personally are out of the way. The drone can be out of the way because it's got the zoom lens to it. So outside of the little buzzing sound that's going on with it, you're pretty much out of the way and not causing an issue with anything. So things to keep in mind, whether you're a commercial drone photographer or just a regular photographer with your camera. Make sure you have more than one lens so that when an event's going on, you can be away from the event, but still bring that event up close. Now, my zoom lens, which I think is a 100 to 400, I can never remember. I shoot with it all the time, and I never remember. um, allowed me for part of the event where people were out on the lake rowing in with boats to pull them right up to me. There was let's see, it's been 2 years now, I think it is. Yes, 2 years ago. There was a boating opportunity for people during one of the events where they could go out and they could row the boat. And I was able to zoom in on the person captaining the boat, telling them when to row, etc., and handling the tiller, that I could grab that photo even though they were out in the water and pull it in close, which means that I get a picture that nobody else can get with a regular camera because I have a better lens. And it's not an expensive lens. It literally is a kit lens. But I get a better picture doing that, and it gives me the opportunity to be out of everybody's way, right? Because nobody's around, nobody is trying to get the shot and going to have me in the shot. Boat's out there on the water, I'm on the shore, I'm out of everybody's way, and I can get the shot. That's the same way I am with every event. I try to use the zoom lens as much as possible for events. I've got a 24-70, which I love dearly. It's a 2.8. It works great for the up close stuff, and like when they're marching out, and I can get ahead of everybody and get a photograph. I'll do that because the crowd is behind, so I'm not in anybody's way getting a photograph doing it that way. I love the lens, but it's not appropriate for every situation, especially when an event's going on. I wish I had a lower f on my zoom lens. I think mine's a 5.6 to a 7.8, so it's not great. Like I said, it's a kit lens. But again, remembering the lower the f that you have means the bigger the glass that's on there, because it's f is the size of the glass over that number. That's why you see f over 5.6. That's why the slash is there. It's the lens size over 5.6. So the bigger the number, the smaller the glass needs to be. And that's why it's a 5.6 at the low end and it goes up to 7.8 at the top end, because the zoom is going from now 100 to 400, and that changes the calculation completely when you get to 400. But again, pay attention to what's out there. Grab yourself some good glass. If you can't afford good glass and you're not doing a bunch of events, I highly recommend you just go rent it. Places like Lens Rental, which you guys have heard me talk about before, is fantastic. They ship it out to you by FedEx. Not only does it come in a protected packaging with a protected case inside, you can use that case to carry the lens with you, so it's always protected. If you're not doing that, there's usually another case inside that's padded so that your lens is sitting in that. So your lens is in a padded bag inside a padded case. It's awesome. And you can take it with you, you can get your shots, and then you can just package it up and send it back. And it's a lot cheaper to do it that way, especially for the higher end glass. If you're going out, give yourself a couple of days. If you're going out to do like wildlife photography or shooting birds or something like that, and you're using one of the big lenses like a 400 or 400 or above, they can run into thousands of dollars. I think I saw one that was a $14,000 lens. The rental on it is not cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than buying the lens. But again, give yourself a couple of days in case the weather changes on you or something else is going on. But it's a good way to work with better glass than you could possibly afford on your own. And it's also a way of getting out of the way and getting shots that nobody else can get, because you can get absolutely up front without being in the way of anybody, because you can pull that image right directly into you. I've got an image of a bunch of reenactors. They'd all fired their rifles. They were on the move and trying to reload the rifles, and I got them not only doing that, but with the literal fog of war, the cannon smoke behind them. And I was able to get that from a distance because I had the zoom lens that I could pull them to me so I could get that photograph. So that's what I got for you guys this week. I will talk to you all next week.